This program is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure any illness. Please speak with your doctor when starting a new health program.
Hey there, welcome to Wellness Talk this week. This is George Batista, as always, your health and nutrition advocate. And Wellness Talk is always the show that goes over the latest in health and healing and nutrition. We teach you how to use supplements properly and teach you how to keep yourselves as healthy as possible, especially with everything that's going on in this day and age. Glad you guys could be with me this week. Platinum Nutritionals is the website. And as always, if you want to help us out on Patreon, you can do it at the $5 level and the $25 level. Sorry, the $15 level. This week, we're going to talk about the remarkable tocotrienols for cardiovascular, brain, immune health, and more. This is from Wellness Resources, Linda Doberstein. So tocotrienols is the most potent form of vitamin E. So we're going to talk about why it's so beneficial and why you need to have it in your diet on a regular basis. Then we're going to talk about losing weight after 40 or after 50 or going on from there, the top 4 ways to shed pounds. So we're going to talk about the article, and that's from Jillian Levy from drax.com. But I'm also going to put in my 2 cents and add to it because I have some things that I've seen and done from my end when I've worked with people who are over 40 and 50 and that type of thing. So we'll go over that. And then we'll talk about zinc and how zinc is essential for immunity, sense of smell, and more. We all know how important zinc is these days. You've been hearing a lot about zinc when it comes to immunity. Well, we're going to talk about why it's important for specifically your immune system and sense of smell. Again, this is from Linda Doberstein. That's from Wellness Resources. So a lot to cover. But before I go into this, I want to play a quick clip of something that I think you guys would be interested in. And some of you may have seen it or heard it. But I've talked about on this show many, many times my disgust and my anger towards the mainstream media and why they never talk about health and nutrition, especially in regards to the pandemic. Now, we know, health and nutrition and modalities have been suppressed for many, many, many years by mainstream medical and the mainstream media. But specifically when we talk about this pandemic, they never talk about, losing weight. They never talk about health and nutrition, supplementation, things that are proven like IV vitamin C and ivermectin and IV ozone therapy. All these things are suppressed. They don't talk about any of that stuff. And again, there's a lot of reasons why. But I think this 50-second clip pretty much explains it in a very quick manner. And it explains it so well that I don't even have to add anything to it. But I think this shows you exactly the reason why all these things are not spoken about and actually where the mainstream medical and the mainstream media are coming from. So I'm just going to play this for you guys. Again, it's a 50-second clip, very quick, but I think no explanation is needed. So check this out.
Is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press data download. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
So there you have it. And again, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. All right. So anyway, we'll move on and we'll get started on our articles. So first article is going to be from Wellness Resources from Linda Doberstein. And again, this is the remarkable tocotrienols for cardiovascular, brain, immune health, and more. So let's talk a little bit about tocotrienols, what they are, what they do, those types of things. Tocotrienols, first of all, the most potent form of vitamin E, and they've been heavily researched for the past 40 years. They've been shown to be very powerful antioxidants, and they offer like significant protection for, most of the systems in the body. And a lot of the research, the most recent research have shown that this form of vitamin E provides significant support in healthy aging, especially when you get into, become middle-aged and you're older adults and that type of thing. So let's talk about what it does. Tocotrienols, first of all, vitamin E, first of all, comes as either tocotrienols or tocopherols. Okay, now each type has 4 naturally occurring forms. So you have, each type has an alpha, a beta, a delta, and a gamma. Now, tocotrienols are very different from tocopherols as they have 3 unsaturated bonds in their side chain. So that's kind of the technical form of why they differ. But the reason why that's important because it allows it to be more flexible and easily move into cell membranes with more powerful and different activity than the tocopherols. Okay, so that's what makes it very different. Now, the supple nature of the fat soluble vitamin helps to protect other, delicate essential lipids or fat soluble compounds like cholesterol, omega-3s, omega-6s, vitamin D, and other substances from what we call free radicals, right? Free radicals are the oxidation that happens in your body. And again, oxidation happens through bad food, through breathing on this planet, all these types of things. But again, tocotrienols have that antioxidant effect to help protect your tissues and all those essential compounds from oxidation. That's one important thing. Tocotrienols are also good for your heart and cholesterol health. Now, delta and gamma tocotrienols are especially important as they interact with the HMG-CoA reductase enzyme. Now, by the way, that HMG-CoA reductase enzyme is where cholesterol synthesis happens. It's also, by the way, where your CoQ10 is synthesized. So tocotrienols communicate with this reductase enzyme and helps to modulate the amount of cholesterol produced. So, people, instead of getting on a statin drug, may want to look at tocotrienols as far as reducing the amount of cholesterol that's made because, again, tocotrienols have a very big effect on that. They also support blood vessel relaxation and dilation because they have a beneficial effect on the little gas in the artery walls called nitric oxide, which helps your endothelial linings and helps your blood vessels dilate, right? Also, your brain needs vitamin E. Now, your brain is a fatty organ, and it needs fat-soluble antioxidants for protection, again, against free radicals and stress and oxidation. So vitamin E, as a fat-soluble vitamin with special unsaturated bonds, makes it highly supportive for your brain. As a matter of fact, there was a recent 2018 animal study that explored the effects of tocotrienol metabolism in the hippocampus, or the memory center of the brain. Now, mice were fed tocotrienols rich in palm oil for 10 months. And at the completion of the study, several markers were measured for brain health. And the results showed that improved spatial learning, memory recognition, and exploratory activity. So basically, those parts of their brains actually opened up, and there was more blood flow through those parts of the brain. Very, very important. Now, tocotrienols also enhance your mitochondria. All right. They actually help with energy production. Now, keep in mind that all your cells, except for your red blood cells, have numerous mitochondria in them. And these organelles, they're the kind of the powerhouses or the cell engines for energy production and several other vital functions. So, in the process of all the work that mitochondria perform, they release free radicals, again, oxidation and what's called reactive oxygen species. Well, again, fat-soluble antioxidants like vitamin E are necessary to protect your brain, mitochondria, and cell membranes that surround them, and tocotrienols provide that powerful antioxidant protection against ROS, or reactive oxygen species, in the brain. So, and by the way, not all nutrients, pass the blood-brain barrier. Just keep that in mind, okay? But vitamin E is very, very good at doing that. Vitamin E also protects your immune cells. It also it protects your bone cells. A lot of people don't know that, all right? And it suppresses what's called osteoclasts, okay? Now, you have two types of activities in your bones. You have osteoblasts, which actually build bone, and osteoclasts, which actually take cells down, okay? They activate bone loss in your bone cells. Now, so there was a study given to animals. They were given a mixture of vitamin E with tocotrienols, and they were showed an improvement in bone microstructure. They were shown an improvement in calcium content, mechanical strength, and cellular profile due to the antioxidant cell protective effects. So again, a lot of people don't even know that vitamin E also helps with bone. So tocotrienols are very limited in foods. You find them in some foods, but not a lot. Like the two richest sources are probably rice bran oil and coconut. But you may find a little bit in cereals and fruits. And I know a lot of cereals and fruits say they're fortified with vitamin E and that type of thing. But even with that, you're not going to get as much out of it. Keep in mind that anything above 400 units of vitamin E is going to start to give you kind of a blood thinning effect. So those of you on blood thinners, you will have to talk to your doctors regarding if you want to take vitamin E. But even less than 400 units has been shown to be very beneficial without the blood thinning effect. Now, Wellness Resources has a very, very good it's called Daily Super E, and it's from a blend of annatto and certified sustainable palm oil. Now, this results in a high amount of delta gamma and alpha tocotrienols. Now, the palm oil is sourced only from sustainable produced virgin red palm from established plantations within peninsular Malaysia. And it's certified sustainable by the RSPO, or the Malaysian Palm Oil Certification Council. So those of you who want to check out vitamin E and want to get that into your diet, I would definitely check out the Wellness Resources brand. It's Daily Super E. And again, it comes in small gel, so they're pretty much easy to swallow. But I would definitely check those out because I think they will be beneficial to you. All right. Next, we're going to go over losing weight after 40, the top 4 ways to shed pounds. And this is by Jillian Levy. And this is one of those questions that I get so often. And even from people in my own family who are over 40 and over 50, how can I lose weight when I'm getting into the middle years and that type of thing? So this article, number one, it has some really interesting statistics, and some of them that are actually contrary to popular belief. So we're going to go over those. Then it goes over the top 4 ways they suggest going about losing weight when you get into the middle years. But then I'm also going to give my 2 cents being out there and helping people as well and what I've seen. So recent research suggests that an average adult gains about 1 to 2 pounds per year during adulthood. Now, this adds up over time, obviously. So creeping weight gain at this rate can roughly mean 10 to 20 extra pounds each decade. So if you think about it, from someone in their early 20s to their early 50s, this could mean carrying 20, 30, 40 pounds. Now, many women struggle, especially when they get into midlife, because they blame it on their hormones and slowing metabolisms. And obviously, when you're reaching menopause, it is very common for women to gain weight, especially on an average of around 15 pounds, when they in menopause and then shortly after menopause. However, there is a big range among menopausal and postmenopausal women, ranging from 3 to 30 pounds, depending on the woman's lifestyle. Now, they do talk a lot about lifestyle in this article, which is very interesting. So there was a pivotal, a research paper that was done in 2021, and it was in the journal Science. And it included data from roughly 6,500 people, ranging from infants to 95 years old. And they discovered that the main reason people gain weight at midlife is because they eat more calories than they burn, not because their metabolism is slowing down. Now, the study found that there was no real difference between the metabolic rates of men and women after controlling for other factors like body size. So, again, that's one of those things that, you really don't hear about, because people, the first thing they say is, well, when you get older, my metabolism is slowing down and, it's so much harder. And I'm not saying that's not an issue, but what they're saying here is that it's not as much of an issue as people think. As a matter of fact, the main findings in the study, which focused on weight gain across one's lifestyle due to changes in metabolism, they found that metabolic rates can roughly be divided into 4 stages of life. So up until 1 year, calories burning at its peak from age 1 to 20, then metabolism gradually slows by 3% a year. Then from 20 to 60, one metabolism roughly remains the same, remains steady. Then after 60, one's metabolism declines by 1% a year. So that's very interesting. Now, here's some of the reasons they're giving why it is difficult for people to lose weight after 40, or again, maybe even after 50. Number one, it's reduced muscle mass size due to a sedentary lifestyle, right? Less physical activity, high calorie consumption due to high processed foods, low intakes of antioxidants, insulin resistance, chronic stress and depression, because again, you're releasing cortisol, you're releasing stress hormones, which can lead to fat accumulation, sleep deprivation, and use of medications such as antidepressants and things like that. And again, obviously, when you get into your 40s, 50s and stuff, the risk of being on any kind of medication goes up, right? Because there's so many people on, from 1 to all the way up to 7 different types of medication. And those medications can increase weight gain depending on which one it is. So that's one of those things you have to think about. So here's the 4 ways they feel that it's best to shed pounds after 40. Number 1, clean up your diet, okay? Remove as many processed foods as you can, like the pizzas and the processed meats and the frozen meals and the sugary drinks, all that type of stuff, okay? Choose real food instead. Fill up on high fiber foods. Pay attention to portion sizes, because remember, some of the portions could be way more than what you actually need, okay? Especially when you're looking at breads and pastas and rice and things like that. And then consider intermittent fasting. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, okay? Number 2, meal prep. Take control of your calorie intake, okay? So make an effort to set a few hours each week for grocery shopping and meal preparation. Now, many people have success with meal prepping on the weekends, such as making a few staples each week and then including some vegetables and healthy protein and stuff like that, and then making your meals for the rest of the week. So that's another way you can do it. Number 3, exercise consistently. Now, to maintain muscle mass, mobility, and overall functionality, keep incorporating movement and different types of exercises into your daily routine, whether it's swimming, cycling, running, walking, or whatever you would like to do. And then number 4, get enough sleep and manage stress, because sleep deprivation messes with many of the hormones, okay, associated with increased risk of obesity and diabetes, okay? So make sure you're getting enough sleep. I always suggest minimum 6 hours, but all the way up to 8 hours, maybe even 9 hours, depending on, everybody's different. Okay. But establish good sleep habits, making sure you limit caffeine, especially in the late afternoon, because caffeine can really affect your system for up to 3 to 4 hours after you take it in. And also making sure that you have, enough vitamin D, because studies show that people with normal vitamin D levels tend to have an easier time losing weight than those who are deprived. Bet you didn't know that, right? So those are some of the suggestions that they offer. Now, I'm going to throw in a couple of things. One of the biggest things I've seen in people when they eat in general, and one of the things I talk to people about, just as far as overall diet, is not eating or leaving enough space between dinner and sleeping. That's one of the hardest things that people have. People have such a hard time with that because they'll eat dinner, let's say at 5, and then they'll be snacking by the time it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock, they're going to bed, if they go to bed at 10 o'clock. Sometimes people are snacking at 11 or 12 o'clock. That is one of the worst things to do. And that is one of my big rules. Leave space between dinner and sleeping. It's so huge. And it is a form of intermittent fasting. So here's what I recommend. Try to eat dinner by, let's say, 7 o'clock, 7:30, the latest. And let's say, and just as an example, if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, leave that space. Don't eat anything else. Make sure you eat a good dinner. I'm not saying don't eat a good dinner. So eat something that is going to keep you nice and full, but don't eat anything from 7, okay, and then go to bed at 10 o'clock and let your body process. Remember, your body, by the time you go to bed, your body has processed most of that meal. Your blood sugar has gone down. This gives you time for when you start sleeping for your body to focus on, number one, repair, and focus on your metabolism, okay? Because what you don't want to do is get into bed when you're in the middle of digesting a meal. Because remember, everything else shuts down because the body has to focus on digestion, which means that your metabolism is not going to rev up. Okay, so when you leave space between your meals, number one, you're controlling your sugar because your sugar and your insulin are going down and staying down. Number two, your body will eventually release the stored sugar that you have in your system, okay? And eventually, as the night goes along, your body will start to burn more fat, especially towards the morning. So the closer to morning you are, the more fat your body is going to burn, okay? That's the science behind that. So you want to make sure you leave enough space. That's a huge thing, okay? Now, leaving space in between your meal is huge in general, but that is one of the biggest things I've seen a mistake. And people just have a very hard time doing that because, number one, it's a cravings thing. And number two, people just seem to, they get nervous if they get hungry. And, they don't realize that it's okay to be hungry. You can fast a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why the word breakfast, when you splice it in half, it's break fast. You're breaking the fast, right? So that's one suggestion. The other suggestion, make sure that you are getting, again, your nutrition, your multivitamins, all the nutrition that you need. Why? Because your body many times forces you into cravings if it's lacking nutrition. So if your body's not getting the vitamins and minerals that it needs, you may end up with cravings because, again, your body gets hungry because why do we eat? We have to get that nutrition in, right? So you don't want to get into that, that vicious cycle. So the more you're getting your nutrition in, the less your body has to deal with being hungry and the less your body has to deal with cravings. So just keep those things in mind. And then, yes, you do have to maintain exercise. Muscle mass also. The more muscle mass you have, and I'm not talking about bodybuilding, I'm talking about the more, just in general, strength training, okay? The more muscle mass you have, the more metabolically expensive it is for your body to keep that muscle mass, which means that your body has to burn more calories in order to maintain it. Okay, this is why I always recommend doing some kind of strength training to just keep your muscles strong, because it's going to do a couple of things anyway, especially for women who are in the menopausal stage, right? Number one, it's going to protect your bones, because the more muscle mass you have strong around your bones, the more your bones will be protected, and your bones will remineralize the more you use them for heavy things. It's called Wolff's Law. Okay, you can look that up. It's called Wolff's Law. But anyway, so your bones will keep the minerals and remineralize the more stress you're putting on them. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the more muscle mass you have, the less issue you're going to have with insulin resistance, because now you're using up any stored sugar that you have in your body. Okay, because again, you're putting stress on your muscles, which is releasing the stored sugar, and if whatever sugar you just ate, your body has room to put it back into the muscle. Number three, it's going to make sure that your metabolism remains at a higher level, because again, it's expensive for your body to maintain that muscle, which means it has to burn more calories in order to maintain the muscle. So strength training, resistance training at older ages is the best thing. Yes, it may add a couple of pounds. I'm not going to lie if you're putting a little bit of muscle on, but I guarantee you over the long haul, you're going to be happy with the result, because your metabolism will stay more steady instead of slowing down. So those are my main tips, and I'll go over more diet stuff as we go along in these shows. But those are my main tips and the things that I've helped people with, especially over the age of 40. Okay. Lastly, here we're going to talk about zinc, essential for immunity, sense of smell, and more. And this is from Linda Doberstein, Wellness Resources. Now let's talk a little bit about zinc. Your body, you don't understand how crucial your body needs zinc. And we know zinc has been talked about a lot, especially during this pandemic. But zinc is involved with so many functions in your body, it's not funny. It's actually involved with energy production, heart rate and rhythm, gastrointestinal function, gut barrier integrity, stomach acid production, brain and cognitive function, skin health, integrity, nerves, muscles, all require adequate zinc, including blood sugar, cholesterol, heart health, and these types of things. Now, zinc is also essential for growth and the development, especially from infancy into puberty. Now, let's talk about smell and taste and other senses. Your sense of smell and taste relies on zinc. So when you smell something, that scent is received by a group of nerves called the olfactory bulb. Okay, now these nerves are located deep in your nasal passages, and they transmit signals into the hippocampus in your brain, and they play a major role in memory and learning, and is also part of your limbic system, and it helps with the sense of smell. Okay, this is part of the reason why if you get sick, sometimes you may lose that sense of smell and taste, because it's zapping the zinc in your body. Okay, zinc is also needed for other special senses as well. Your eyes, especially your retinal tissue, have a very high need for zinc. Your ears, for hearing, have need for zinc. Age-related decline in vision and hearing have been linked to diminished zinc levels. Also, your oral health. Zinc helps to maintain oral health. Now, zinc also, chronic high zinc can deplete other things like copper, magnesium, calcium, iron out of the body, those types of things. But also at the same time, zinc works together with them if you have the right amount of zinc in your body. Okay. Now, a lack of zinc, however, can mimic iron deficiency symptoms, and studies show that when individuals fail to respond to iron supplementation, it could be because of a lack of zinc. And by the way, zinc is also essential for vitamin A function in your body. Now, what are the sources of zinc? Oysters provide the richest content of zinc, period, but you can also get zinc from red meat, crab, lobster, poultry, those types of sources. And the minimum recommended daily intake for men is 11 milligrams, and for women is 8 milligrams. And higher doses may be needed if you need to replenish it. Okay, for whatever reason you're deficient in zinc, or if you're sick and you want to take extra zinc for that, because again, that gets zapped when you're sick. So these are those things you have to keep in mind. And then medications. Numerous medications deplete zinc from your body. Some of the more common medications that rob zinc include blood pressure medications, aspirin, cholesterol-lowering drugs, benzodiazepines, birth control, diuretics, neuropathy medications, and many, many others. So if you're on any of those medications, make sure that you speak with your doctor or your pharmacist. If you're, because you want to know if any of those medications are known for depleting zinc. Okay. So again, my suggestion would be most good multivitamins will have zinc. Wellness Resources products have some great zinc, especially one called the Daily Protector, which is one that I use every single day, because that has not only the antioxidants to protect your system, your immune system, but it also has a good amount of zinc. And actually, if you add the Daily Protector to the Daily Multivitamin, it's fantastic for keeping your system in check. You'll end up getting enough zinc. You're protecting your immune system from all the stuff that's out there. And you're getting all the essential nutrients that you need. So just a little bit on zinc. Just make sure you're getting enough zinc because it's really, really crucial for you to have, especially, again, for taste and smell. And it's very, very important. All right, so that's pretty much it for this week. Glad you guys were able to join me. Again, go to platinumnutritionals.com. Check out all the information we got on there if you want to read the articles for yourselves. Hope you guys have a great week. Make sure you stay healthy and always control your health.